Canada is the name of the film that we're organising a photo call for this morning. It's a film competition. And here we see the director, the Pope of New Hollywood. He is renowned as a screenwriter. He wrote the screenplay for Taxi Driver. And he's got a career which has had its ups and its downs, of course. But he's been involved in some amazing films. There we have Richard Gere, who is a favourite co-worker of him. Paul Schrader gave him the role in American Gigolo. And so that's one of the challenges, seeing them together again after so many years, because American Gigolo dates back to 1980. This film today, Oh Canada, is about the end of life, about creativity, about death. It's very complex. And also in the cast is Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman has been many, many times to Cannes in Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, to name but those. And she's back in competition this year with Oh Canada, directed by Paul Schrader. So the press has seen the film and the reaction has been rather positive. The film director is 77 years old. He's American. He's back in good shape and in good running for the competition. And he is bringing to us a film on the theme of illness here. And for the newspaper Le Monde, this has said that the film is simple, no frills, but the theme is very complex. And there are some voiceovers that are heard in the background, giving contradictory points of view. There's a story that is constructed with flashbacks, different types of flashbacks. Some are in colour, some are in black and white. In some, the character played by Richard Gere appears younger, in his younger version, and in that younger version he's acted by Jacob Elordi, who's not at the Photocall. So it's all knitted together. It's very in a complex way. It's you have to concentrate to follow, but it's a question of life and death, of creativity, because we are following the dying months of an artist, the last months of an artist. And Paul Schrader, who is 77, he is edging towards the evening of his life, and that's a subject which he's interested in. Here we have Richard Gere. Everybody knows Richard Gere, of course. So he started out in the 80s with American Gigolo, and he also acted in the film Pretty Woman, of course, where he has a relationship with a prostitute. He knows how to sing. He's an actor. He was in Chicago in 2002, stage production musical, when he was alongside Roxanne Belmer, who had killed the men in their lives, and they were facing the death penalty. And Richard Gere got a Golden Globe for his role in Chicago, the film. Richard Gere is also very close to Tibet, and he defends Tibet. Of course, we know him for the Terrence Malick film, Days of Heaven, back a few years ago now. But on your screen, there's Uma Thurman. She was a member of the jury of 2011. She was in competition with Pulp Fiction, which was all directed by Quentin Tarantino, got the Palme d'Or. She was also in Kill Bill. And while she was filming Kill Bill, she had a car accident because she was doing her own stunts. And she had advised the team, the production team, that she wasn't a tip-top driver, but nevertheless, she went ahead and did it, and she had a bit of a car crash. She is also at the forefront of the Me Too movement, denouncing Weinstein, saying that the producer had tried to throw himself upon her in a hotel room. And so she also supports women in Texas who are combating the abortion law there. She played in Batman and Robin, Beautiful Girls, Les Miserables. Paul Schrader, now the director. So he wrote the screenplay for Taxi Driver when he himself was depressed. He just had a divorce, he was living in his car, he was depressed, and he wrote that screenplay in just a matter of days, 5 days, 10 days, the rumor goes. So that film got the Golden Palm. He wasn't the director of that, he was the screenwriter, but he was part of the team, of course. And people often say it's just as much a Paul Schrader film as a Scorsese film. So here, Paul Schrader is a veteran from the 1970s, still in business. At the time, the movement was called New Hollywood, and that's one of the challenges here in Cannes. Coppola's back in town. And back in the 70s, that generation really changed film. Talking about films, talking about death, drugs, against the Vietnam War. And in this current film, Oh Canada, he's addressing the question of the passing of time, the aging of an actor. Richard Gere plays the aging filmmaker. It's a documentary filmmaker, and he's not particularly attractive in the film. He's not shown to his best advantage, but he's an aging documentary filmmaker who's ill and about to die, and he's looking back over his life. I've mentioned the film Days of Heaven by Terrence Malick, which starred Richard Gere. But he's, of course, been in many, many. Pretty Woman we've mentioned, of course. He was in Rhapsody in August, which gave of course, the poster for the film, poster for the film festival this year. So we do not have with us Jacob Elordi. He plays the role of the main character in his youth. Of course, we know him as Elvis in Sofia Coppola's film called Priscilla. Elordi is a very handsome actor. And of course, he pairs perfectly with Richard Gere. Here we have Richard Gere, who's grabbed one of the photographer's cameras to snap a few pictures there. So that's going to go down in the annals of the 77th Cannesfilmfestival, I think. He's shooting at the photographers. He seems to be really taking pictures there, not just acting. And the photographers seem to enjoy that. They're shouting his name. And so now the entire team is going to have a group photo. Paul Schrader and Richard Gere there, hugging up. 44 years after American Gigolo, here they are back together again. And they turn round to look at the photographers on the other side. This film is the adaptation of a book written by Russell Banks. It was released in 2022, and it had the same title, Oh Canada. It's the story of a Canadian documentary filmmaker who gives his final interview to one of his former students to tell the whole truth about his life. And Thurman plays the role of his wife, and Jacob Elordi plays the main character in his youth. We're going to listen to what they have to say about the film now, because they're going into the festival hall for the press conference.
What a good celebration.
They're going to cross over that grassy area, over the footbridge. There might be some people inside the building waiting for them for autographs. And usually the stars stop to sign the autographs. And then they'll head into the conference room. There's another film called The Golden Bowl, which was brought to Cannes. It was the James Ivory film. Richard Gere was in that. Room with a View, you're familiar with the Ivory filmography, but Golden Bowl was a film that starred Richard Gere. And James Ivory was the screenwriter of a film called Call Me By Your Name with Timothée Chalamet. So Paul Schrader, as a boy, was forbidden to go to the movies. His parents didn't allow him to go. But at the age of 18, he managed to slip out and sneak into a movie theatre. So as soon as you tell a child they're not to do something, of course, they want to do it. And so Paul Schrader snuck out of the house at the age of 18, all the same. And he saw his first film at the movies, and he had a panic attack before the screening because it was such an important event for him and such a thing he wasn't supposed to be doing. He also made the film Sentinel, produced by Nicholas Winding Refn, with Nicolas Cage in the lead role. Nicolas Cage was on the red carpet yesterday, of course.
That's going to kill the swim. You need to have that happen.
So Uma Thurman there's talking about going swimming. It's a lovely day here. But in the meantime, here they are stepping into the festival hall building. There's Paul Schrader, the director. And in a few moments, we'll see row I and how the film was received after its first screening last night, officially in competition. And so perhaps the stars will interact with the fans. Oh yes, there's Uma Thurman signing autographs. Paul Schrader was a screenwriter also of Raging Bull. Not only Taxi Driver, but also Raging Bull, which was nominated for the Golden Globes in 2001. Uma Thurman there. Kill Bill, which was an absolutely sensational film, a film of revenge. Everyone can remember that bloody scene when blood trickles onto the snow. She was wearing bright yellow on a yellow motorbike. And she's going into the press conference. Let's take a look at what Richard Gere is doing. Yes, there he is signing autographs. So what is he signing? Well, there's a poster of Pretty Woman there in the crowd. When he's at the piano, he really, at the beginning of the film Pretty Woman, he really is playing the piano and singing with his own voice. So he'd been trained to do musicals and to dance. So the film is quite old now, but you can still watch it with just as much pleasure. He's even doing a mini interview there. The girl there is asking him quite a few questions, and he seems to be playing along. But he's concentrating on his autographs there. He also acted in Cotton Club by Francis